Hey everyone. I have a number of clients that tell me that they've been nervous about the real estate market. So some are selling, some are buying, but anytime there's market change, and there is big market change happening right now, it's really helpful to have some data that gives us clear direction and not just the news. Most of you know me, but in case you found this video online, I'm Gary Nims. I'm with Windermere Real Estate. And I want to put out a special report on the market right now. And if you know me, most of you know I can't do anything halfway. I guarantee this is worth your time, but this video is a few minutes. So ask me about the guarantee, reach out. If it wasn't worth it, the guarantee involves money. So first item that I want to talk about right now is we are day one, July 1st, day one of the second half of the year. So why is that important? Well, I want to share my screen with you in order to tell you why that's important. So last year, Windermere finished a 10-year study, and what they found was 82% of the median price increase in the greater Seattle area, it comes in the first 6 months of the market, the first 6 months of the year. So that means that if the median price increase for the year is 10% in any given year, 8.2% of that increase comes between the months of January 1st and January 30th. So that is just a little tidbit of a fact about the market. That's not what's driving the current changes, and I'm going to get into that. But keep this in mind because I'm about to explain the main factors creating this kind of tidal change that's contributing to this issue is contributing to the flow. So let's dive into the main factor driving the change. Why are we seeing the market finally normalize? So a few weeks ago, I was reading a Wall Street Journal article. They quoted Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed. He was saying we can't do anything about the supply issues that are driving record inflation, but we can do something about demand. So basically, supply is out of control due to fossil fuels and due to workforce issues and some other things. So the only lever that they have is to hike interest rates to cool the demand. So a quick note on interest rates. Why does this affect the market so much? So let me share my screen with you again. Why does this affect the market so much? Well, it affects the market so much because it goes back to this thing we call the 1 in 10 rule. It's some quick math that states that if interest rates go up 1%, a buyer who's getting a loan to finance most of the purchase, they lose 10% of their purchase power. So to put that in numbers, our King County median price, right at the I just pulled the median price for single family home, $942,500. So if interest rates go up 1%, purchase power would go down by $94,000. So my question is, naturally, why isn't the greater Seattle area just completely imploding? Because interest rates have gone from about 3% to right around 6% right now. Well, what that means is I have to share my screen with you again in order to explain this. So imagine that you had 40 qualified buyers that are bidding on a house, and you got how many houses? 5. You have 5 houses. How many of these are going to sell? Well, the answer is every single one, as long as it's priced somewhere in the ballpark and the condition is somewhere in the ballpark where somebody can move in. The ones in the best condition, they're going to sell first, and their price sales the highest and the furthest, but all of these homes are going to sell. Now, because of interest rates, this 40 buyers pool has reduced because not as many of them can qualify. So as a result, inventory has increased. In fact, it's literally doubled in some areas. So let me stop my screen share here. So we're not flip-flopping here and we say, okay, but now there's 40 homes and only 5 buyers out there, so to speak. I mean, we had 133 pendings on the east side alone last week, but we're seeing some price adjustments. This is good news. Even a couple listings accepted contingent offers last week on the east side. We're moving towards a balanced market where the power between the buyer and the sellers more equal than we've seen. So the market is normalizing. So now the question is, what's this situation doing for prices? First, we want to look at where we've been. So going to share my screen again. Where have we been in this market? And you're not going to believe this probably. Maybe some of you are. So the last 2 years, from 2020 to the very tippy top high point of 2022, the close-in East Side market increased by 85.3%. So now you're looking at this, and I won't get into all the reasons for the incongruency in the markets between the Seattle market and the East Side market, but it has something to do with the tech sector expanding with phenomenal growth. So let's talk about the change that's happening. I've showed you how interest rates affect the real estate market. Let's look at one other factor that is shifted at the same time as rates. So the tech sector's really affected the East Side. If you want to see growth, just go to the East Side and look up. Like, there's cranes everywhere, building everywhere. Facebook on Willows Road. Google just bought Lee Johnson Chevrolet dealership on 85th. They're working with the city to put basically like a mini business mall there. They want to build a 33-story building there. We'll see if the city will let them do that. Amazon's everywhere. Have you been to the Spring District in Bellevue lately? If you haven't, it's totally changed. And Microsoft, I think they just move cranes from one spot to the next as they continue building. But all of it requires housing. So what fuels the down payments? Often it's down payments on house purchases. Often it's RSUs. It's the restricted stock units. They play a big part. So let's look at stocks, and I'll share my screen again. Again, some of these numbers are just phenomenal. So 52-week high in stocks: Amazon 188, Microsoft 350, Google 3000. Now look at the change. So you have July 1st is today, and I just pulled these about midday. So a 43% reduction in the stock price in Amazon, Microsoft 26, Google 29. And so how is that affecting the real estate market? Well, a lot of employees, they feel concerned about selling their stock off for down payments when the price is down. So I really see this as a secondary reason to interest rates, being why the market is doing what it's doing, but it's certainly a strong factor to the current tide. So if we want to quantify the corrections, let's look at the correction so far and share the screen again. So look at this close in the East Side market. And this is, I won't go into the geo area that I've looped, but February, we saw 1.935 median price on the East Side in this really tight close in East Side market. March 1917, May, and now we started to see some correction. One thing I want to point out just real quick without going too far in the weeds is when something closes in May, it was under contract in April. Usually it takes 30 days to close. So these are the months we're seeing these prices lock in. Now look at the Seattle market. And this is amazing. And I've been thinking about this for a number of months. Is somebody's going to say eventually, hey, I just got to drive 15 minutes across the bridge to get to Seattle, and this is the price. I can buy a home for 1.2 instead of 1.7, $500,000, and it's a similar type of home. That's amazing. So here, if you want to look back at what a good template is to see what to expect now, I'll stop sharing my screen. We can look back at 2018 as a really good template. And I'll just throw out some facts without giving you some visuals right now. Interest rates increased from about 4 to 5%, and the market shifted for about 7 months. Inspection contingencies came back, and median price reduced by about 9.5%. Guys, I have so much data, and Windemere's has a really deep think tank of data and options, but I'm not going to make this video longer than it needs to be. Just call me to learn my thoughts and get some more data about your specific area. Because as I showed you, clearly different areas are being affected to varying degrees. So let me do 2 more things and then I'm done. Recession and what I'm going to call the human element or the human nature element. So we're expecting recession. I was just reading an article this morning citing Atlanta Fed's GDP nowcast tracker. And it states that we're already in recession. Some analysts agree, many say not yet. In fact, most say we're not in a technical recession yet, but Matthew Gardner, Windemere's economist, he just put this together a couple of years back. I'm going to share my screen with you in just a minute and show you something interesting about recessions. Recessions don't always cause home prices to drop. So look at this. You've got the recession in 73 to 75. I don't remember that. I was 3 years old in 73. So home prices entered into the recession, median price nationally, this is a national scale, obviously, 37,000. And then home prices, by the time the recession was over, home prices increased to 41,000. 1980, home prices entered the recession. The recession started, home prices were 74,000. The recession ended, home prices 78,000, and so forth. You can see that home prices continue to go up during the recessions, and the only one that doesn't follow that was the one that was created by the housing industry, the recession that was created by the housing industry. I'm going to call it the lending, the lending industry, but we'll call it at that. So real estate's normally the best hedge against inflation and against recessionary type of environments. So I'm going to stop the share, and I want to deal with the last thing, the human nature element. I want to finish by saying, who's going to win here? So for years, and especially the last 2.5 years, my buyers have been beat up. I mean, they have pleaded for a break. And now I'm hearing buyers say, I'm worried about the market. Well, rightly so. We need to pay attention to the data, but sometimes we're hearing news that's not data. It's just what sells news. So it's human emotion to wait until the smoke clears and everyone can see the turbulence is over. But there's a reason why Warren Buffett is the 7th wealthiest individual in our solar system. So one of my favorite quotes of his is he said, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. He's a contrarian. So as things are going down, he's scooping up the opportunity because he recognizes it as opportunity. And there is some opportunity here. So I want to go on record for kind of ringing my bell and letting my clients know. A year from now, you're going to be able to go on my website and see this video as a snapshot in time where buyers had an opportunity. If some of you are in a position to take advantage of this, I would love to help and be a small part of your success story. So the other question is, who's going to lose here? And my thought is, what I see time and time again is folks who are waiting on the sidelines, and don't misunderstand this message. If you don't buy a home tomorrow, all's not lost. I don't know who first said this though, but most recently it was Keith Banks with Bank of America. He's the vice chairman there. And he most recently said, it's time in the market, not timing the market. So, owning and being part of the house growth, price growth and appreciation I think it's the best thing you can do. Obviously I'm in real estate, but I think it's the best investment that you can make. And that doesn't include the the non-financial benefits of owning a home. I won't even go into that because that's not what the video is about. So call me up. Let's have a conversation. Every one of you have different scenarios, where you want to live, how much you want to spend, how do you want to finance, do you have cash and the opportunities there, and etc. But in any case, I'm here for your thoughts and to discuss your specific situations and desires. In recap, the opportunity right now here is to purchase. It's still a good time to sell, but I'm working with my sellers individually to explain condition, proper market pricing, and some other issues that'll be important in this adjusting market. Typically, opportunities are not doors that stay open for long periods of time. That's why they call them opportunities. So if you or anyone you know is considering a move or an investment opportunity, buying or selling, pass this video on, reach out. I'll be reaching out to many more of you with continued updates because it's my mission to help. All right, if you found this video online somehow, you don't know who I am, I'm Gary Nims with Windermere Real Estate. You can reach me at 425-269-8151. It's an exciting time. Thanks for watching.